It's that time again for the assault on your ears we call Lower Dorks, a Star Trek Lower Decks podcast. Aaron, Stavros, Star Trek, you know the drill. Tonight on our screens is episode 7 of season 3, A Mathematically Perfect Redemption. And in our cups is peanut butter whiskey, I guess?
That it is. Screwball peanut butter whiskey in my case. Is that what you're drinking as well?
Yeah, I guess we've just run out of clever references and are just doing lazy word association.
Well, you know, it's multifaceted. I mean, in this case, it's because you have a whiskey problem. But, of course, the other reason is, peanut butter, as you mentioned, is close to Peanut Hamper. And I feel like a Peanut Hamper flavored whiskey is probably better.
And you know what? It helps that we're drinking our peanut butter whiskey out of hampers tonight.
It's totally a thing that people could do. I think we did this whiskey in our season 2 episodes at some point, but you know what? It makes sense and it's delicious, and so we're drinking it.
Yeah, I do love this whiskey. I don't remember us doing it before, but I was probably drunk at the time, so
yeah.
At least I have an excuse.
All right, well, let's talk about this episode, A Mathematically Perfect Redemption. We return to the plight of Peanut Hamper, the exocomp, as she makes her escape from the Pac-Lid battlefield and finds her way to a bird planet where love is in the air.
Yeah, if that's what you call it. I call it creepiness is in the air.
There were several instances of love being in the air / on the screen. So,
yeah. Moving on!
Well, let's jump right in, shall we? The episode actually opens with, I think, Lower Decks' first instance of last time or previously on Lower Decks.
Yeah, and it's all wrong. All wrong. Yeah. Where is Majel Roddenberry? And I don't want any excuses about, oh man, she's dead. That is no excuse.
I mean,
we live in the future. Though. The future.
You want like AI Majel in there?
Well, I was thinking more, back from the dead, raised by Necronomicon, but whatever
wow.
it takes.
That's dark. Yeah, they definitely use some non-standard voice person there. But you know what? There's like a 2-second long line, so I'm fine with it.
I'll allow it.
I kind of like this. We get to see the Pac-Lid encounter from the end of the first season from the different angle and seeing Peanut Hamper just like shit on the crew as, people die. She even goes like, that big guy died.
Glad I wasn't there. Oh, man. Yeah. Like, just Peanut Hamper is the worst. They, go the extra mile to establish how bad Peanut Hamper is to make the redemption arc more meaningful. It's a fantastic start.
If only the redemption arc was real, but we'll get to that later, I'm sure.
Whoa. Spoilers, dude. Jesus, man. Right? I haven't watched the episode yet. That's
terrible. You should just stop listening and turn on the episode and then come back. Yes, do that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thanks. What do you think of the replaced credit sequence?
Oh, I'm sorry. Were you talking to me? I was watching the episode.
Oh, you're watching the episode? Yeah, you turned it back on.
I love it. Oh my god, it is so good. That's just like Peanut Hamper floating through the wreckage with that mellow music in the background.
I know.
It's good. Loved it. Fantastic.
I like the focus on Rutherford's disconnected implant. Kind of floating and flickering. I was a little worried that I feel like there might be a little bit of Badgie left on that implant there.
Though, that did remind me of one of the problems with this series' continuity. How did Rutherford's memories remain in the buffer if they had to replace the entire implant?
You know what? Maybe that's not an issue with it. It's something conspiracy.
Nope. I think this is a plot hole, and I'm very disappointed. My animated cartoon comedy lacks strong continuity, and that's turning me off.
Yeah, it's quite a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, I could tell. But, we get back to more of this sequence of Peanut Hamper trying to facilitate her escape. You know what? I really liked the animation quality and sound design when Peanut Hamper is kind of using thrusters to pop around in 0G. That was very well done.
Even before that, though, this is a problem. Again, the fight scene, the, Peanut Hamper's animated assembly of her escape pod, the eventual arrival of her pseudo-rescuers. More on that later. So much sound in space. It's like, I'm used to hey, we want explosions. Hey, you can't just have it be silent,
Yeah.
Crusade tried it, and it never really worked well for mainstream audiences. So you know what? I'm a little disappointed with all the sound and space. I feel like my animated cartoon comedy show is not adhering to the
be more
law.
Quiet. Too much sound in there
physics.
for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come on, McMahon.
Yeah. You know what? I feel like Star Trek has historically shown that there is sound in space.
You know what, though? I mean, like, there were
opinions are
people,
valid.
like, talking. You could hear their voices coming through the void. It's too much, man.
That's
Too
true.
much. I mean, I couldn't suspend my disbelief long enough, you know?
But you don't think Peanut Hamper heard, "Come on, baby bear"?
You know, I can handle space spiders gumming Boimler. I can handle aliens who are, you know, too dumb not to blow up their own planet. You know,
Yeah.
gaining spaceships.
More realistic.
All of that
Yeah.
I can handle, but sound in space, bit too much there,
Wow,
McMahon.
immersion breaking.
Yeah, no, can't get behind it.
No. Wow.
The worst part about that is somebody out there is going to take this rant seriously and be like, he makes some valid points.
These guys hate
And I'm
lower
going to be like,
decks.
I'm glad we're only meeting on the internet because I can't strangle you through fiber optic cables.
You know, I feel like your opinion is sound in space bad, but owl people good.
God.
That's just your opinions.
Well, I mean, axolotl people good. We need more of that. Why didn't they go to the axolotl planet in this episode? That would have been way better.
Yeah. Alas, no. But we do get the return of the Drookmani, those guys that don't have weapons on their ships and they just tractor beam debris and throw it at the Cerritos in an episode earlier.
I'm going to jump ahead a little bit because, you know, I'm not good at doing things linearly.
No. You're terrible. Especially when you're on peanut butter flavored whiskey.
Linearly? I don't know, but in strict chronological order. Not good.
Yes.
Me.
There you go.
I like the design of the Drookmani ship. That's where I'm going with this.
Kind of boxy, kind of freighter.
But then I also like they introduced the shuttle in this episode, and the way it's like, you know, just stuck to the underside of the forward part of the ship, and it disconnects. And I like the design of that little shuttle. Just overall, I like the design. That's what I'm getting at here. That is what the last 10 minutes of me verbalizing nonsense is trying to say. Drookmani ship good.
Yeah. Thanks. Sound of space bad. Boxy Drookmani ship good.
Thank you.
That's what you should get out of this episode.
Appreciate you verbalizing my feelings so clearly.
Yeah, that's why we're co-hosts, man. That's why I'm here, to help you out.
Yes.
Let's talk about the bird people and their planet. So first of all, I said owl people earlier. Are they actually closer to owls than like an average bird, do you think? Is it more accurate to call them owl people or bird people?
Are they more owly? Man, now you're making me want to go back and look at them. God dang it. Why do you do this to me, Stavros? Ain't nobody got
I feel like
time.
they're owls.
Yeah, you know, I think you're right. I think they do look very owly now that you mention it.
Which is funny because Peanut Hamper at one point calls them the poor man's Aurelians. Which I thought was pretty great. Nice little homage to the animated show.
Yeah, you know, but it's funny because are they Aurelians or are they like Score? Because I feel like they have more in common with the Score in reference to something that happens later. Can I comment? So the Aureola, are they Aureola? No, they're Aureolas. Nipple people. Nipple people, right? That's where you Areolas. Anyways,
the planet is Areolus.
Yes.
And the people are Areore.
Yes. So the inhabitants of Nipple Planet.
Right.
They are bird people who apparently were
Yes.
an ancient technologically advanced race that decided to abandon technology because all it brought was strife.
Appears to be the case.
Here's my question. In the animated series, going back to the other bird race, there was the Score, right? Who were this ancient technologically advanced bird people. But in like Star Trek, you don't see bird people at all, like as a modern race. You know, even like the very questionable snake people in the Cardassians. You got everybody's humanoid. They're all mammalian. I don't even think the Cardassians were actually reptilian or snakeoid. They were mammals, right? So, like,
I think so.
I'm starting to wonder, is it possible that, like, the bipedal humanoid races are not common, but the ancient humanoids from the chase messed everything up by seeding their genetic spunk everywhere? So it's all like, or like the score out there after they learned about what happened in the chase, they're like, oh, it should have been all bird people, but those darn ancient humanoids screwed everything up.
Yeah, it could have been tons of bird people and not very many humanoids.
Yeah, like I feel like there's probably something more going. Ooh, are there ancient birdinoids? Birdoids? Avianoids? Avianoids? Are there ancient bird people that also seeded their genetic spunk across the universe? Maybe they weren't as effective, and that's why we never saw them in like the Gamma Quadrant or Delta Quadrant. It's only like very locally. What if like it's only like a few, like it's like one sector. There's just a bunch of different alien bird people because
the Aurelians in the score and these guys.
Yeah, because their progenitors were just not good at spreading their genetic code across the universe.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna have their episode of the chase and collect all the DNA, and it's gonna be like, "Whoa, hey there, fellers! Where are your progenitors? And we built a spaceship out of mud and dynamite, and now you guys are our descendants." And they're gonna be like, "Let's never speak of this again."
Seems likely. I mean, but a lot of evidence on this planet of of animals that should be normal animals, but also have wings for some reason. Kind of speaks towards some genetic tampering happening there for sure.
Yeah, like the ancient birdinoid race. I'm calling them birdinoids. I don't care if it's avianoid. They're birdinoids now.
I feel like you're going to change what you call it every time you bring it up. But
they just weren't good at seeding their DNA. So like the only thing that translated was wings. So it's like every planet they seeded their DNA to, no matter what evolved, it wound up with wings. That would be amazing.
I love it. And this planet's like the nexus of it all.
Oh my god.
You notice we saw the flying turtles that we saw in the trailer. Finally.
Yeah, we were totally wrong about what's going on there. They were just a throwaway gag. Didn't mean anything.
How are we to know that there was going to be a planet of winged animals and owl people? There was no way to anticipate this. Oh, I like the little detail they had of all the domesticated animals. They have these pens for them, but they're actually like enclosures because they, can obviously fly away.
Oh, I don't remember this at all. I must not have been paying enough attention.
Yeah, you're drunk on peanut butter whiskey.
Well, I think I'm awfully focused on my establishing the canon of the ancient birdinoids.
Yeah, they definitely made a mistake with the sky snakes too. That was pretty funny. I also love the trope where you just add like descriptor and then animal. Like
yes, you can't just add sci-fi words to something. Only in this case, it's sky and flying.
Yes,
it doesn't make any sense if everything here flies.
It's the planet of the hats trope, except this is the planet of the flying things.
It's the planet of the winged things, which we've established is because of the ancient birdinoids. Also, I've made it my mission to insert birdinoid as much as possible into this episode now. Good
luck.
Yeah.
Also, why are the sky snakes so huge? I feel like the ancient birdinoids really messed up the
now you're a part of it! Well, we've got giant snakes on Earth, right? There's like anacondas. I think I saw a movie where those things were like 40 feet long and as wide as a man, right? What was that movie called?
Yeah, I'm sure there are several of them out there.
Anaconda, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you know what? And I know that movie was 100% biologically accurate, so I'm just going to accept this as a thing that exists.
I'm not really a snake horror kind of guy. The most snake horror I've experienced is Sky Snake from this episode. So
yeah, the most snake horror I've experienced is that time in that parking lot with that weird dude.
Ew. Yeah.
Anyways, moving on.
Also, why is Rauda, the Peanut Hamper's love interest, why does he's the only owl person with a six-pack?
Are we sure? I mean, we didn't see that many owl people, did we? And like most of them were old.
We saw enough. There were like dozens of them.
You know what? Maybe like it's just like normal people. Most people don't have six-packs. But if you had one, would you not want to show it off?
I guess you're right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know what's not conducive towards six-packs is peanut butter whiskey.
Well, I do have a six-pack. I just happen to have a protective layer, nice little coating over it. Don't want to damage that at all. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, you can't. You just gotta have protection.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God. Anyway, I think that's enough about the bird people. Let's talk about Peanut Hamper's plot with them and her attempt at redemption. Although calling it an attempt is sort of generous. She gets involved with Rauda, obviously to get the audience sympathy going for Peanut Hamper. And as I alluded to earlier, I mean, this episode really tries hard to get you to buy into this romance here. Why are there the 2 consecutive love scenes with Rauda and Peanut Hamper? Was that really necessary?
I mean, it's Lower Decks. I mean, whatever they think is necessary is necessary. But you know what? I think you're like, this whole thing starts off a little rough, you know? We first see the whole Rauda's father, and he's all like, you know, he's about to take the knife to Peanut Hamper, and it turns out he just wants to clean Peanut Hamper. And he's all like, I will not rest until you are fully restored. And you know what he does? He, like, rests before she's fully restored. She's never fully restored. Like, the best thing...
There's that time skip in there, and she becomes fully restored during that time.
No, because unless her base color is, like, beige and brown, I refuse to accept this. She looks dirty from beginning to end.
In the wedding scene, she's got the veil, and you know, there's definitely a not rust color happening there.
You know, dude, whatever floats your boat, man. Out there. Whatever, get your motor running.
Speaking of weddings, I was 100% expecting a Owl People love triangle happening there, but it never happens. You just never see the Rauda's girlfriend ever again.
It's 27 minutes. It's not enough time for a love triangle.
That is true.
But you know what? I mean, one thing... Okay, I got to comment on this that really bothered me. I'm still stuck on, like, the early scenes of this episode.
Okay.
There's a moment when Peanut Hamper's being, you know, trucked around by elder statesmen, and she makes a comment about her android intuition. And I'm just like...
Yes, that was a weird one.
Yeah, you're not an android, Peanut Hamper. You don't look like a human. No. I mean, like...
I think she was just doing some bullshitting there.
You know what? I
don't think she cared. She just says stuff that doesn't make sense.
Oh my God. I'm starting to think Peanut Hamper isn't actually sentient. Just running off of databases and said, oh yes, robot like human. I think like human. I android.
I've learned that a-hole humans make the best out of their lives, so I'm going to emulate a-hole humans from now on.
Oh my God. Terrible. Makes me so... Moving on!
I love when she talks about going to Free Cloud, which, of course, we've seen in the Picard show. That kind of free-for-all gambler's paradise.
Where apparently they have Dabo.
It also mentions becoming a Dabo girl.
Yeah.
What the heck? How
does that work?
I don't even want to think about...
You know, here's my question about this, though. We know that, like, holographic generators can be built on the small. So with, like, Peanut Hamper, like, she's obviously already got, like, a replicator and possibly a transporter, not 100% certain. Could she just install, like, holographic projectors so she could look like a real girl?
I guess so.
Or does she have them now and was just being a bitch by not looking like one of these aliens?
You know what? She knew what she was doing with that nozzle, so...
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
She didn't need it.
Whatever floats your boat there, buddy.
Yeah, I kind of question Rauda's kinks. You know, not to kink shame at all. Some people are into exocomps, and I'm okay with that. I'm there to support them, but just a little unusual.
Deep to their own, buddy.
You know, I don't know about you, but I actually completely bought the redemption right up until the end when it gets sprung that the Drookmani were called there by Peanut Hamper. Did you buy it?
Honestly, I did, but you know what? I have very low expectations from everything in the world.
What does that mean?
I mean, like, if it had ended with, you know, the Drookmani showing up and it turns out that they just arrived unannounced and Starfleet shows up and saves the day and Peanut Hamper goes off and becomes a good Starfleet cadet, I would be like, oh, okay. I guess that's what the episode is. Way to go, guys. You really knocked that one out of the park. Oh, boy. That's some quality A+ writing. And I love that there was no redemption. Fantastic.
That was great.
Best redemption arc ever.
Yeah. I gotta say, I would have bought the redemption, but the fact that she just continues to be an awful person, or, you know, exocomp. I guess exocomp can be people
But,
too, right?
here's my real question. She took this really far. Like, what was the deal with the whole... Like, was it necessary, the router relationship? Or was she just, like, playing a lot of angles? Like, if the Drookmani don't show up or Starfleet never comes back, was she going to, like, establish a exocomp dynasty where she rules for a million years? But here's a better question. As soon as she found out about the alien spaceships, they were flyable. Why did she never check them out? Just leave on her own.
Yeah, she made a bad assumption.
They can't be that complicated to fly. Rauda, that backwards primitive screwhead, figured it out in like 2 seconds.
I know. What was that? An untrained birdman is like, I fly this giant spaceship by myself.
But you know what? There's got to be a point where, like, I mean, look at the Enterprise, right? It has holodecks where you're like, make me a Sherlock Holmes episode where
where are you going with this?
Where Abraham Lincoln shows up and there's a three-way with Scarlett Johansson. And it happens.
Oh, God.
The holodeck makes it happen, and it makes a story that makes sense. If a holodeck can do that, advanced technology can be all like, hey, fly this ship and kill those people. And that is what a pilot is now. That's their whole purpose.
There is precedent for that, right? We've had people ask the computer to perform certain things, so maybe this old Areore ship can take voice commands or squawk commands.
It's a squawk commands. Do we think, like, without a universal translator, that's like how they talk?
I think so. They just make like oscillated squawks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we heard them sing, and that was regrettable. So,
indeed, it
Peanut
was.
Hamper definitely called that one.
And speaking of Peanut Hamper's attempted shenanigans, I love how... so obviously the Drookmani have transporters, because they come down in the shuttle and then get out, and then it goes to shit, and then they beam back out. So they obviously leave the shuttle there just so Peanut Hamper can take the shuttle to the Drookmani ship.
Are you trying to imply that whole final confrontation scene just doesn't make sense from beginning to end?
I'm saying it makes extra sense.
I thought I was playing the negative one for this episode.
It's extra sense because she's like imitating the Shaxx sacrifice, like the crashing the shuttle into the ship thing. So I feel like she's trying to, like, she asked the Drookmani to come down in a shuttle just so she could do that. It makes sense. It makes sense. I feel like it 100% makes sense, except for untrained Birdman flying a giant spaceship.
You know, I accept it. He just said, "Hey, spaceship, go kill those Drookmani," and the spaceship was like,
and then it did it.
Squawk! What? Squawk! And he's all like, those things up there, and the ship did it. Maybe it can read minds. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's why Peanut Hamper couldn't escape. Because Peanut Hamper has a robotic mind, and it's looking for a bird mind.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That could be it.
It's not.
Look at you making up soft canon. Speaking of the Drookmani, how about that kind of leftover J.G. Hertzler cameo?
Yeah,
I feel like they took some audio that wasn't used in that episode and just kind of stuck it in here and it worked. It was just like one or two lines, wasn't it? I can't tell. I'm doubting it.
I mean, did you watch the credits?
I did, and they do credit him. But that could mean anything, right? They could have recorded that for the previous episode.
I don't think it matters. I feel like on the scale of what is going to make this episode or break it, whether or not it was new audio or reused audio, doesn't show up on
doesn't
that
matter.
list.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
The point is there was
but
audio.
It is cool. It was cool to hear it again.
They didn't just like pause every time he was on screen and have the words, imagine J.G. Hertzler saying this, and then his dialogue. Yes. They took
that would have affected you.
They took their production values seriously.
That is true.
Maybe it was a J.G. Hertzler impersonator.
Hertzler.
Yes, Hertzler.
Oh.
I've been pronouncing it wrong for ages. Maybe it was an impersonator. We don't know.
Oh.
Maybe it was an AI. Maybe they programmed a Hertzler AI to mimic his voice. Maybe soon you'll be able to get a Siri with Hertzler voice. It would be fantastic if it occasionally yelled at you for not being a good Klingon. Make this happen.
I love it.
I feel like we've gone off the deep end here.
Yeah,
Reel it back in.
I think so.
Call the lifeguard. Get us some floaties. Let's get back on track.
We need the floaties immediately. You mentioned production value before. I really loved the animations between the Cerritos and the Areore ships. That engagement that happens there. Lots of detail during that fight. Very cool to see the kind of burst fire weapons from the Areore ships.
I thought that whole engagement was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, but the Cerritos is actually taking damage throughout the course.
Yeah.
And it persists. It was very enjoyable. Of course, now this is what, like the 5th, 6th time the Cerritos has been brutally damaged.
Yeah. I was thinking while this was happening, I'm like, are they going to put it back in space dock again and have another facelift for the ship?
We'd love to boldly go, but we can never make it more than 2 star systems over before our ship gets wrecked.
Just gets completely messed up. Yeah, totally.
But yeah, that was definitely a highlight of the episode.
Well, you know what? Should we go to the end where Peanut Hamper is acquired?
No, there's something that happens between there and then and when and now. And, there's something between Captivity and the battle. And that is when the Cerritos crew shows up to recover Peanut Hamper. Whole exchange is fantastic. But I love when Freeman goes to introduce themselves. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're Starfleet. And Rauda's all like, oh, yeah, we know who you are. So here's my question. Did he know because of Peanut Hamper? Or were they aware of the Federation because they, were a former spacefaring race? Because in the beginning, they're like, we have no idea what you mean when you say Federation. And at the end, he's all like, yeah, of course we know who you are. As if, like, the Prime Directive doesn't apply and he knows it. And I just feel like there's a question here, because one of these makes sense and one of them doesn't.
It's got to be Peanut Hamper telling him.
Yeah, so...
Right?
I think so.
Peanut Hamper does explain that she got kicked out of Starfleet and therefore has to explain what Starfleet is and all that.
Yeah, but they show up and they're like, oh yeah, we know you're Starfleet, which raises all these questions. Like, how much detail did she go into? Yeah, I don't know, man. This is really getting me. I'm not sure.
It could be anything. I mean, they are ancient spacefarers, and who knows, maybe the village elder kind of skulks back and checks the sensor logs on the ships every once in a while. I mean, who knows? It's not covered.
It's definitely...
It could be any number of unexplained things. Well, shall we go to Captivity when that occurs?
You mean the introduction of the greatest duo in sci-fi history?
Yes. That is totally amazing. The Daystrom Institute, of course, has their self-aware megalomaniacal computer storage.
Yes.
And we get the return of Jeffrey Combs. Separate lines for this. He even says Peanut Hamper, so he's recorded new lines just for this episode.
Unless they knew they were going to do this last season, and they're all like, hey, we just need you to record this random
they record ahead
line.
of time.
And he's all like, what does any of this mean? And they're like, just do it, Combs! We know where you live!
What's a Peanut Hamper? I love it. This is the beginning of a really cool duo, like a slow burn duo.
Yeah, I really hope we get the megalomaniacal Agamus teamed up with Valley Girl Peanut Hamper for a fantastic attempt to overthrow the Federation. And I hope it's not even like they try and overthrow it by, like, stealing a starship or, like, assimilating things or building drones. I want them to run a campaign for Federation president and have them just be, like, all over the news and, like, polling really high, and then the election happens and then they lose and they're like, well, yeah, I mean, we're more evolved now. We're not going to fall for your shenanigans. That would be a fantastic end to an episode. Like, especially if, like, the entire time, like, none of the senior officers are worried about it. And then, like, Mariner's all like, we gotta stop him! And the rest of the Warp Core 4 are like, yeah! We need to stop these two and their evil machinations! And the senior officers are like, no, it's fine. They're never going to win. And then in the end, they don't! Yeah. It would be great.
That sounds right. That would totally fit with the feel of the show, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. It would be a good follow-up to the to Grounded. Would be fantastic. To establish that.
I just can't wait for more Jeffrey Combs. It's going to be fun.
I mean, you assume he's going to come back and they're just not going to forget about that scene.
Yeah. I'm making a big assumption there.
Yeah.
I feel like every time that this show does something that's really funny or like has a character or a joke they like forget about it for at least a full season before they come back. People are still upset that there's no T'Lyn in Lower Decks.
You know, I do wonder though if it's they forget about it or whether they're like, okay, here's the big board of things we need to follow up on.
Yeah,
and then
it's just
you know, it would be amazing if they're just like building that list of everything everybody wants to follow up on, and then they do like one episode where it all happens, like Peanut Hamper and Agamus and T'Lyn and the Packlids and you know, Dupla Boimler, and just like everybody comes back. And it would be great if there's like no satisfying resolution. It's not some big conflict. It's like a high school reunion or something.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
Just like a best hits kind of a situation.
Yeah.
There's no resolution.
There's no like real story. It's just these people show up to something and they realize they all know each other.
Wait, you fought the Cerritos? You fought the Cerritos?
Yes.
I love it. It's in the future. I'm hoping that it'll come back. It's in the cards, I hope.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever they do, as long as it's good.
Yes, I agree. Anything else before we get to final thoughts?
Well, I'm all out of thoughts. Do you have more thoughts?
Yeah, I have some final thoughts. So this is obviously a Peanut Hamper episode. The main crew is barely in this. And they take some chances here. The showrunners are basically making... There's no A and B plot. It's all the Peanut Hamper plot. So they're hoping that this minor character that, granted, people loved could carry this whole episode. So the question is, does the Peanut Hamper plot successfully carry this? And my answer is sort of. I love the Peanut Hamper character, but having it be the only thing the entire episode is a little tough. I'm not sure it totally carries it all the way through. We were talking about this before we recorded. Most of the episode is a build up to the payoff of the Drookmani plot of them getting called to steal the ships was Peanut Hamper's fault, and thereby, exposing the Peanut Hamper plot. It's a very slow burn for the one joke. Yeah. And while it's good, I'm not totally sure it carries the entire episode.
You know what? That's my thing. I am very much a believer in a good story, like even a mediocre story, the right twist or the right ending, even if it's not a twist,
right,
can really bring everything together, right? And that gag, there was no actual redemption arc,
right,
was fantastic, right?
It was good.
But the overall episode, I mean, there wasn't enough meat to it. And I feel like it would have been a little bit better if, at the end it had been revealed that Peanut Hamper was doing tons of stuff to try and escape. Like, she called the Drookmani, she was trying to access the bird people ships. She was, just doing anything.
Actually calling the Borg.
Yeah, actually calling the Borg. As they're getting ready to leave, if you just heard, as the Cerritos is flying away, Boimler would be like, Captain, there's a Borg probe on long-range sensors. Would have been fantastic.
And they just run away, yeah. Oh, man. They spend a lot of time in the episode building up the bird people, so... I don't know. It's all a build up toward the joke, and I get it. It's fun. Just, what? I wanted a little bit more out of it, and it doesn't quite get there.
Definitely was a fun episode, and you know what?
Yeah. For
all of its faults, I think we all have to agree it's no Sub Rosa.
That it is not. Well, I think that's all we got.
Yeah. I mean,
this time,
both literally and figuratively. I'm spent. Nothing more on my screens, and no
more peanut butter in your cup.
Cup is empty. Cup is completely empty. So you know what, kids and bird people, come on back next week, and we'll be watching episode 8 of season 3. Till then, catch us on Twitter at Lower Dorks, or if you're in the mood, find your own redemption arc with a man who needs no introduction and wants only the sweet, sweet lovin' of a non-humanoid robot.
Wait, are you talking about me?
I'm always talking about you.